You ever get that gut feeling something's off, but you're the only one who sees it? Yeah, that's how this story starts, except I wasn't the one who saw it coming. No, that was Emma's 7-year-old with a stare so sharp it could cut through morning fog and see things most adults just gloss over. And if you'd told me a month ago that a kid would end up saving my life and blowing my whole world apart, I'd have laughed you out of the room. But that's how life works, right? You think you're running the show, and then boom, someone else pulls the curtain, and you realize you never saw the stage at all. So, let me back up a sec. Picture a sunrise on a regular street. All quiet, just a faint rumble of bread trucks and the metallic click of a mailman's cart. And in one yellow house at the end, Emma's wide awake, eyes pressed to the window like she's watching a secret movie only she knows about. This was her ritual every morning. Before adults even had their coffee, she'd survey her kingdom, cataloging every move, every twitch on the street. Her grandma Margot used to say Emma was born part owl, part detective, and on that day, she earned both those stripes. That morning, something shifted. A figure in black, face hidden under a cap, drifted up to Victor Duran's shiny black sedan, the kind of car you don't even touch unless you've got a $1 million excuse. Emma watched, frozen, as the man crouched beside the car and did something with a glint of metal. It wasn't a game. She felt it. This was serious, grown-up danger, the kind you read about in books but never see through your window. When the man left, Emma's heart hammered in her chest. What she'd seen didn't fit in her world. Or anyone's, really. She didn't know what to do until she saw Victor himself, tall, silver hair, all business, coming out, keys swinging like he owned the whole city. Without a second thought, Emma slammed open her window and shouted at the top of her lungs, "Don't get in the car." The brakes had been cut. The kind of thing nobody wants to hear before breakfast. You know what I mean? Everybody stopped. Neighbors poured out in their pajamas, some snickering, some shaking their headskids, right? Overactive imaginations. But Victor, for all his corporate bravado, paused. Something in that kid's eyes made him hesitate, maybe a buried instinct. The same one that built his empire from nothing but grit and a borrowed laptop. Better safe than sorry, he muttered, waved off the crowd, and called for a taxi. If he'd brushed off Emma, none of what happened next would have happened at all. Later that morning, after a quick trip and a tense conversation with Pierre, the mechanic who looked like he'd seen a ghost after checking the car, Victor got the news. The brakes really had been cut. If he'd driven, he'd have been toast. Simple as that. Suddenly, the world tilted. Emma wasn't just a kid with big glasses and a wild imagination. She'd saved his life. And Victor? He was a man with more enemies than friends, and 1,000 questions he needed answered fast. Victor's mind raced through a gallery of suspects, rivals, ex-employees, even so-called friends. But what bugged him most was that a child had spotted danger when a whole street full of adults saw nothing. He had Antoine, his right-hand man, look up everything he could about Emma. Not out of paranoia, well, maybe a little, but because he needed to know who he owed his life to. And when he saw that shy smile on Emma's school photo, he felt something crack open inside. Gratitude, sure, but also curiosity. Who else had he underestimated? He went straight to Emma's house. Margot opened the door, wary but polite. The place was full of warmth, mismatched cushions, and 1,000 family photos. Emma was there, all nervous energy, but when Victor thanked her, she just said she did what anyone would have done. "I just told you what I saw," she said, adjusting her glasses. And then she told him everything down to the exact time on her unicorn watch, the way the man crouched, the shiny watch he wore. She even drew a picture of the suspect, a child sketch with a grown-up's eye for detail. Victor was blown away, but Margot was worried. If someone tried to hurt you, and Emma saw them, does that mean she's in danger too? Victor felt a chill, promised them extra security, even offered to install cameras like it was a scene from a spy movie. Emma loved the idea. Margot, not so much, but she agreed because sometimes safety trumps pride. Back at Duran Innovations, Victor threw himself into the hunt. The more he dug, the more it looked like a real conspiracy, money laundering, shell companies, big numbers disappearing through tiny cracks. It wasn't just fraud. It was something way bigger, way uglier. His board meetings turned tense. All eyes on Lucas Moreau's CFO, tall, twitchy, with that same shiny watch Emma had described. Lucas squirmed, lied through his teeth, and Victor played along, waiting for him to slip. Every day, the tension in the office built until you could practically taste it in the air. Twists kept coming. Lucas wasn't acting alone. There were whispers, secret meetings, and another face Victor never expected. Sarah Chun, the COO, always quiet, always in the background, now suddenly at the center of the storm. Emma, meanwhile, kept watching cars parked outside her house, men in suits sneaking packages to Lucas's door. The girl had a gift. Every detail she gave filled in gaps Victor's own team missed. Then, one night, Victor got an email from an anonymous friend, photos of his right-hand man Antoine at secret meetings, moving cash, shaking hand with Lucas. The betrayal hit like a sledgehammer. Suddenly, Victor realized the person he trusted most was the one who'd been hiding the knife behind his back the whole time. When he confronted Antoine, the man's mask slipped. "I was always in your shadow, Victor. You built the company, but I kept it alive. Now I want my share." It was envy, ambition, and old wounds all rolled into a poison Victor never saw coming. Things spiraled fast. Emma's latest observation about a birthmark on the saboteur's neck matched Antoine, not Lucas. That sealed it. Victor had the truth and enough evidence to bring the house down. Antoine, seeing the jig was up, confessed everything. He never meant for anyone to get hurt. He said it was supposed to be scare tactics, just enough to distract Victor while Project Phoenix, their giant shell game, got off the ground. But with Emma's innocent vigilance, the whole plan unraveled. Sometimes the smallest voices are the ones that topple empires. You know what I mean? Police moved in. Antoine and the other conspirators went down hard. Lucas, the almost fall guy, was cleared and Victor gave him his job back with a promotion. The press had a field day. Victor stood in front of the whole company, admitted his mistakes, and rolled out a new program, the Young Observers Initiative, offering scholarships to kids with Emma's knack for spotting the truth in a world full of lies. The aftermath was messy public apologies, restructuring, months of audits. But Victor held the line, determined to rebuild, this time on real trust and transparency. Emma became a legend in the company, even if her name stayed secret. She won science fairs, started dreaming about being a detective. Margot, proud as ever, watched her granddaughter grow into a kid who understood just how much power she had, even as the world told her otherwise. 5 years later, at the graduation ceremony for the Young Observers program, Victor stood on stage, more gray in his hair, but a lot lighter in his heart, and watched Emma, now 12, take her seat in the front row. "Never underestimate the power of careful observation," he told the audience. "And don't ever let someone tell you your voice doesn't matter." He meant every word, because the truth is, the real heroes aren't always the ones with the biggest offices or the most medals on their desk. Sometimes, they're 7-year-olds with mismatched glasses and a stubborn streak. Kids who pay attention while the rest of us are looking away. And in a world that's all shadows and double dealing, a little bit of light can go a long way. So how would you have done in Victor's shoes? Trusted the kid? Back down? Let me know where you draw the line between suspicion and faith, between business and conscience. Because maybe, just maybe, the next hero waiting to save you is already out there watching, waiting, ready to shout out the truth before anyone else can even see the danger coming.